This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so in previous session we have seen how to load data from Excel to DB and text file to DB, right? In today's session, we'll see how to load a CSV file into a database, how to take the data from database table and load the data into a text file and DB to Excel file. Okay, fine. So first open Visual Studio and go to the same project SSIS-3. So we need a CSV file to load the data into a database, right? So first let's go to the files and verify. So this is a CSV file, and so this is a CSV file. See the icon over here, Microsoft Office Excel common separated, like a comma separated value file. So CSV means comma separated value file, comma separated value CSV means. Okay. So CSV file we can open it in a notepad. We can open it in notepad. See the CSV file we can open it in notepad, and see here we text qualifiers, right? So this is has a text qualifier. See CSV has a text qualifier. So when you receive a CSV file, open that file. Don't open it in Excel first. That's very, very important. So CSV file can be opened in Notepad. CSV file can be opened Notepad plus plus. CSV file can we can open it in Excel as well. So Excel lo kuda open avutundi CSV file. Excel is a medium to view the data in a CSV file. Okay, but if you open CSV file in Excel format, no, you won't be able to see the formatting options. Formatting visible కాదు ఇక్కడ CSV లో. If you want to see the format of the file, if you want to see the format of the file, you have to open that file either it in a notepad plus plus or in a text file. టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్లో ఓపెన్ చేస్తే మీకు ఒక టెక్స్ట్ క్వాలిఫైర్ వస్తుంది. చూడండి కామా ఉంది కాబట్టి ఏం చేసింది టెక్స్ట్ క్వాలిఫైర్ ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఎంబర్ చేసింది. దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఫీచర్ ఆఫ్ CSV. ఓకే, now we will see how to load this data into a database. Okay, first step to create any SSIS package, so if you close this SSIS toolbox now, solution explorer, right click and new SSIS package, and over here if you don't see solution explorer in left side, right click and here you have a SSIS toolbox. Click on SSIS toolbox, and what is the first step? Drag and drop data flow task into control flow. This is the first task. Okay, this is the first task. Next step, right click on this, click on edit option. Okay, now in data flow tab we have a multiple extraction components, transformation components and loading components, right? So right now we are trying to load a CSV file into a DB. So what is the source component? We have to take flat file. So in case if you are reading a data from text file or CSV file, take the flat file source. Flat file source is used to read data from text and CSV file. In case if you receive Excel file from the client, then take Excel source. If you are trying to read data from a database, then take OLDB source. Okay, now I want to load the data into destination is a DB, SQL Server DB. I am going to take OLDB destination. Take drag and drop OLDB destination. Fine. Now we have to create a connection, right? So file is in some folder. So we have to create a connection between a file and flat file source. Then data will flow to OLDB destination. From here, data will flow to this DB, SQL Server DB. Now we have to create this connection, OLDB connection, and we have to create this Excel flat file source connection, flat file connection. So right click on manager box and click on new connection, or if we have a shortcut over here, new flat file connection, and which flat file, which CSV file you want to load. Click on a browse option. Then here if you go to SSIS, here you don't see the CSV file, no? Here just select CSV. drop down the CSV select చేయాలి CSV file, and this is the file which I want to load. Select the CSV file and click on open. Now, so do we have a text qualifier? If you have a text qualifier, we have to set text qualifier, and we discussed about headers, and first row has a column names. Go to columns. If you click on column, then you can see whether this file is reading successfully. See, here we haven't mentioned the text qualifier, right? If you go to the file, what happens to the volume section? See, if you open this file in notepad, you can see here we have a text qualifier which we didn't mention it. Text qualifier mentioned this, but text qualifier ఉంది కదా. So we have a comma over here. We have comma. So మనం text qualifier mention చేయడానికి ఏమైందంటే 12 we consider as a separate column. This 40 separate column లోకి వచ్చింది, 00 separate column లోకి వచ్చింది, ఈ 000 separate column లోకి వచ్చింది. చూడండి ఒకసారి. You go to here 40 12 40 00 అని separate column లోకి వచ్చేసాయి. ఎందుకని? And text qualifier mention చేయలే కాబట్టి. Okay, if you may go and mention text qualifier, you go and mention text qualifier double quotes, then go to the columns. Now reset. If you see, volume is perfectly read. So that's where we, before developing a package, after receiving a file from a client, first step is to open a file and verify, is there a text qualifier? Yes, because of text qualifier we have comma, we have, that's the reason they have embedded text qualifier. Now we will have to define the text qualifier in a general section over here. So in a real time logo వచ్చేస్తే text qualifiers different symbols ఉంటాయి, tilde symbol కానీ, so they can embed different options. Text double quotes is a frequently used text qualifier. Okay, columns. Now it's reading successfully, entire file read అవుతుంది proper గా. Then click OK. Click OK. Now we have created a source connection, and we have to use in a flat file source and column. Here we have to verify whether the same connection is being used or not. Okay, now click on columns. Here I want to read all of these columns. Okay, and click OK. Now data will flow through this arrow. Take it and right click and click on edit. Here we need to create a connection, destination connection, that OLDB connection. So here you can right click on manager box and click on a new OLDB connection. That is our first option, first way of creating connection. And there is second way of creating connection. Right click on edit. Here also we have a new option. If you click on this, it will create a new connection. Now I have already created a connection. I'm going to reuse the same connection. Click OK. Do we have a table in a SQL server to load the data? We don't have a table, right? If you don't have a table, and if you want to create the SQL server table in SQL server from SSIS, click on a new button. Now see, so as we are reading data from CSV file, all the column data types are a varchar. All the columns are varchar. That's what we discussed, right? Columns in a text file, columns in a CSV file, all are varchar only. All are varchar columns. You can just select this and change the name. So broker, right? So broker file. You can mention it as a broker file. Control C and click OK. And go to mapping. Here we have a same column names. Source has the same column. So source low and target low same columns ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి we have a same columns in a source and target, right? So that's the reason automatically map అయిపోయింది. Okay, click OK. So that's it, and we're done. So now go to SQL and take a session on SSIS-DB, new query, and here just write it. Select star from the same. Now if you run this package, it will load the data from CSV file to OLDB destination, which is nothing but a SQL file. Okay, So 132 rows we have loaded into SQL Server. See, so we have loaded 132 rows into SQL Server table now. So any questions on reading a CSV file? So after this session, I will share this file with you. Okay, after this session, I'll share this file with you. Okay. Any questions on reading CSV file and loading the data into OLEDB destination? Fine. So
మేము
next.
అది వదిలేసామన్న డబుల్ కోట్స్ పెట్టారు కదా దాన్ని అది
Okay.
అది అది మర్చిపోయాము.
Okay, fine. Fine. Next topic. Taking data from DB, loading the data into text file. Taking data from DB and loading the data into a text file. So in two ways. Consider we don't have a text file. So text file ledu. So text file create automatically create So we have to create a text file dynamically. So now whatever data we stored into this particular file, right? Whatever data we stored into this broker file table, now I want to copy a data from SQL Server table to text file. Text file lo copy cheyalanukuntunanu. Okay na? So now I don't have a text file. I have to create a text file dynamically over here. So let's name it as a UK flat file underscore UK and one name to create shell. So right now we don't have a flat file over here. We have to develop SSIS package which takes the data from this table, SQL Server table, and it has to create a file dynamically. It has to create a file dynamically. After creating a file, it has to copy data from SQL Server table to text file. Okay. So right now, I am going to create a flat file through SSIS dynamically. The name of the file is a flat file underscore UK. Right now, that file is not available in the folder in this folder. I will show you how to create a file dynamically through SSIS. Go to SSIS and create a new package. Right click and new SSIS package, and don't leave a package name as it is. So you have to concentrate on naming convention. Okay, pkg underscore pkg underscore. So what we are doing, db to cs, no text file. Let's say db to text file. Enter. The first step to create any SSIS package is take data flow task and drop it into control flow. That is the first step. Second step, double click on it. Now, what is our source? From where we have to take the data? So source is a SQL Server table, right? Take OLEDB source. Take OLEDB source as this is a source. Now, now where we have to load that data into text file. Text file. So there are two cases. Already created a text file like ఎలా లోడ్ చేయాలి, టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్ మనం SSIS ప్యాకేజ్ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఎలా లోడ్ చేయాలి. సో లోడింగ్ డేటా ఇంటూ ఆల్రెడీ ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్ అండ్ లోడింగ్ డేటా by creating a file dynamically. Okay, two different ways. So take flat file destination and we have to read broker file table, right? So we have to create a connection. So now broker file table is available in database. So broker file table is available in database. Now we have to create a connection to the database. Now data will flow through this blue arrow. Then the flat file destination will create a file dynamically and it will store the data. Okay, this is the process. The first step is to create a OLEDB source. So right click OLEDB connection, click on OLEDB connection. So I'm deleting and creating the connection again. Click on a new connection. Here we have to provide the name of the SQL server. So take name of the SQL server, cancel it, and go to Visual Studio. You paste it. Okay. Then select the authentication mode of the SQL Server. SQL Server username and password. Okay, to which DB, from which DB you want to read the table. I want to read it from SSIS DB. Test connection. Test connection succeeded. Click OK and click OK. we have created a connection successfully. Rename it as a source connection. Okay, source connection. Done. Now we can use the same connection in a YLDB source. Right click, edit, and browse the connection. Now, so from which table we want to take the data? So broker file, right? Broker file table. Preview. I want to take the data from this table and load the data into text file. Close. I require all the columns. If you don't require any one of the column, you just uncheck it. For example, if you don't want to take the column from a database table, previous quarter volume, uncheck this and click OK. Okay. Now after that, take blue arrow, data will flow through this arrow, drop it into over here. Now, case one, you don't have a text file created already, right? If you want to create a text file dynamically through SSIS package, then don't create a flat file connection over here. Get into flat file destination, edit, and here you click a new option. If you click a new option and create a connection, which creates a file dynamically, and if you have a flat file created already and saved in a location, if you want to load the data into a file which is created already, then you take a flat file connection to it from here. And if you want to create a flat file dynamically, you go get into flat file destination. Here you click on a new option. Click on a new option and delimited. Okay, let's have a delimited. We'll discuss about this later. Okay, click OK. And over here, we don't have a file right now. So just browse. I want to create an SSIS. What is the name of the file which we are going to create? Which we want to create? Flat file underscore UK. That's what we discussed, no? Dot txt. I want to create this file and okay. So that is already got next remove it. Open. Okay. We don't have this file. D drive SSIS folder lo, we don't have flat file underscore UK text. We are creating it. Okay. First row column names column names in first letter. Okay. Nakawali. Next columns. ఓకే కాలమ్స్ వచ్చేస్తాయి. ఒకవేళ ఇన్ కేస్ మీకు టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్ కాలమ్స్ వద్దనుకోండి, మీరు లోడ్ చేసేటప్పుడు టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్ కాలమ్స్ వద్దనుకోండి అని చెక్ చేసి సరిపోతుంది. ఓకేనా, కాలమ్స్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇస్ ఫుల్. క్లిక్ ఓకే అండ్ మ్యాపింగ్స్ లెక్క కాలమ్ నేమ్స్ ఏం కాబట్టి మ్యాపింగ్స్ అయిపోయి క్లిక్ ఓకే. Now if you go to the folder and verify, do we have a flat file underscore UK right now in SSIS folder? We don't. Okay, there is no file. And go to SSIS and you run this package. It will create a file and it will take the data from broker file table and paste it in a text file. Now, so database was only 3132 records. Okay, now if you go to location, now you can see a flat file underscore UK got created, and if you open that file, you can see the data over here. Any questions? So this is how we take the data from. So basically the SSIS is a mediator to copy data from DB table to text file to DB. It is a mediator ETL tool, extracting data from one place and transforming the data into another format and loading the data into another place. So DB to DB కూడా మనం కాపీ చేయొచ్చు, DB to Excel to DB, so everything. Okay, it's just a mediator copying data from one place to and pasting that in another place. Okay, fine. Any questions on creating a flat file dynamically and loading the data into a flat file?
అన్న ఫ్లాట్ ఫైల్ అవుట్పుట్ లో మాకు టెక్స్ట్ క్వాలిఫైయర్స్ లేవు కదా.
టెక్స్ట్ క్వాలిఫైర్స్ మనం డిఫైన్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, లెట్స్ డిఫైన్. టెక్స్ట్ క్వాలిఫైర్ లేదు, డిఫైన్ చేయాలా? ఓకే, గో టు విజువల్ స్టూడియో. So if you, in case you are creating a file, right? If you're creating a file, in case if you want to define text qualifier, you have to put text qualifier. ఇక్కడ మీరు text qualifier పెడితే text qualifiers create అవుతాయి. Text qualifier ఓకే, and if you start it, సో నేను అవంతా సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోలేదు, మీరు సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటే మీరు ఏం సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటే అలాగే జరుగుతుంది. And if you open text qualifier, now we have a text qualifier across all. So you are creating a text file. So however you want to create, so you want to have a text qualifiers, if you want to have a pipe delimited, everything. So column right now, what is the column separator is comma kada. So right now is a column separator is comma. Now you don't want to have a comma. you want to have a pipe symbol కావాలి మీకు. Okay, then go back to Visual Studio and go to the same connection. Here you can define a properties however you want. Okay, column delimiter. If you go to columns కి వెళ్తే column delimiter మీరు వచ్చేసి pipes మెన్షన్ చేశారనుకోండి pipe వస్తుంది column delimiter. Click OK. Now if you start it, you will get a text file created dynamically, but column separator is a pipe. So you will get a pipe. See, pipe. So you can define. So it's in our hand. So we can define format of the file. Any other questions? Okay, fine. Moving to the next point. If you don't have any questions on program to SQL, and we completed DB2 text file. But in DB2 text file, we discussed two different cases, right? So first case, case one, creating a file dynamically. So creating text file dynamically. Okay. Second case, loading data to existing text file. ఆల్రెడీ టెక్స్ట్ ఫైల్ ఉంది దానిలోకి మనం లోడ్ చేయాలనుకుందాం అప్పుడు ఎలాగ చేసుకోవాలి. Now go over here, copy paste this and mention this as a under version. So very brief file and we move on this. So let's keep only headers for mapping purpose. Keep only headers and save it. So now flat file underscore uk underscore v2 we have, but we want to load data into this file. File is already created. We have file created already. So we already create in a file document data push cheyali. Okay, two different cases: creating a file dynamically and pushing the data, and pushing data to already created file. Okay, I'm just taking second case now. Go to Visual Studio. Let's create a new package. Or else if you want to manage in the same package, just you can disable this data flow task. Right click and click on disable. So ఇది disable అయిపోతుంది. So now if you run చేస్తే మీకు రన్ కాదు, disable అయిపోతుంది. You can disable a component. Okay. Or else if you want to take a new package, just right click and create a new SSIS package. Rename it pkg underscore db2 text underscore v2. Okay. First step, take data flow task and drop it on control flow. Second step, right click and edit. Third step, from where we are taking data. First, these are very important points. From where we are taking data. We are taking data from OLEDB, which is nothing but SQL Server. So take OLEDB source, and then the destination is a flat file destination. Same process. We have to create a OLEDB connection. I am going to reuse this connection, okay, into the OLEDB source, and I'm going to take the data from broker file db table columns. I don't want last column. I want all the columns except last column. Okay, and take that and click on OK. Then data will flow through this blue arrow. Drop it, and we have to create a connection. So here we have to create a connection in this box. If you want to create a file dynamically, then over here you have to click on this option, use this option, or else if you want to load the data to already existing file, and right click and go to the new flat file connection and browse it, and to which file you want to load the data, flat file uk underscore v2. Click OK. Now over here we have to define text qualifier. Reason being, example text qualifiers unnaya, text qualifier mention cheyandi, comma mention, pipe mention chesi refresh cheyi. Okay, now we got rank region. This rank region, product type, broker name sort, volume, trace, ivanni chesi flat file una column names anamata. Okay na? So then we got it, right? Connection created successfully, and we can use this connection in a flat file destination. Click on edit, use that flat file connection, and go to mapping spaces, then mappings, column name, same word, map IP. Okay, or go back to the connection manager. Here we have an option called override data in a file. See, if you are running the same package again, if you are running the same package again, so I'm checking this option. Let's check this option and click OK and run this. Let's go and verify the file once. Go and verify the file once. So we'll go back to the location and verify the data. There is no data into it, right? Now run the package. Run the package. So 132 rows got loaded. Okay, fine, fantastic. Now go back to the folder, open it. Now you can see 132 rows got uploaded into this file, right? Fine. Now if you run the same package again, what should happen? Okay, if you run this package again, so now if you can you guess, if I run this package again, now it is loading 132 rows again into the flat file, right? Go to here and just if you open this file, you can see only 132, only 132. Reason being, so if you run the same package n number of times, it will keep only 132. Reason being, here we have defined this option override data in the file. Already same data unte ఆ data place లో override చేయమని అడుగుతున్నాం. If you uncheck this particular option and click OK, no, so what happens now? It will append it. So every time every time you trigger this package, it will keep on adding 132 rows. So after this, if you run it again, it will add one more 132 rows to the file. We go to the file, and if you just see 28 KB, that will run this one. 28 KB, remember the size of the file. Now we are running it one more time and run it one more time. So now it should be greater than 28 KB, right? Cancel it as you go. Now it is a 47 KB. So file size itself is saying, now as you can see, it is appending the data now. What the difference? So here this property is very important property. If you are running the package multiple times, if you want to override the data in the file, check this option. Or if you want to append the data, I will run this file multiple times. Every time I run this package, you append the data to the file. So file append cheyalante uncheck chesesi. Any questions? Any question? I think we completed second. So taking data from DB and loading the data into text file. Any questions on this?
అన్న నాకు విండోస్ అథెంటికేషన్ తో అవ్వట్లే అన్న ఓన్లీ సారీ మీన్ ఎస్క్యూఎల్ అథెంటికేషన్ తో అవ్వట్లే విండోస్ అథెంటికేషన్ తోనే అవుతున్నాయి.
సో సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉందా మీకు దగ్గర? సో అసలు మీ స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేస్తారా? వెబ్ లాంచ్ కనెక్ట్ అయ్యేంత వస్తారు. ఎందుకు
ఇప్పుడు అన్న
ల్యాప్టాప్ నుంచి కనెక్ట్ అయినారు?
సెకండ్ అన్న చూస్తాను. ఎస్క్యూఎల్ లో మాత్రం నాకు లాగిన్ అవుతుంది, ఎస్క్యూఎల్ అథెంటికేషన్ తో అవుతుంది, కానీ దీంట్లో మాత్రం విండోస్ అథెంటికేషన్ అవ్వట్లే.
ఒకసారి చూద్దాం. అజురే టెక్నాలజీస్ నేర్చుకోవాలంటే ఇవి బేసిక్స్ అండి. SSIS, SSRS, SQL, ఇవి బేసిక్స్. ఇవి ఉంటే మీరు ఈజీగా క్రాక్ చేయగలరు అజురే టెక్నాలజీ. ఓకే, ఐఎమ్ గివింగ్ కంట్రోల్ టు. ఇంకెవరికైనా ఇష్యూస్ ఉన్నాయండి? వైల్ మీరు వర్క్ చేసి ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఎక్కడైనా స్టక్ అయినారా? ఏదైనా ఇష్యూస్ ఉంటే విల్ క్లోజ్. నేను రికార్డింగ్ స్టాప్ చేస్తాను కావాలి. ఐ విల్ స్టాప్ రికార్డింగ్. యూ కెన్ షేర్ యువర్ స్క్రీన్ అండి. లక్ష్మి గారు, మీకు అది SSRS ఇష్యూ ఫిక్స్ అయిందా? కనెక్షన్ క్రియేట్ అయిందా సక్సెస్ఫుల్ గా?
ఏదన్నా
మీ స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేస్తారా ఒకసారి, లేకపోతే కంట్రోల్ ఇస్తాం?
This conference will now be recorded.
So next topic, how to take the data from DB and load the data into Excel file. Taking data from DB and loading the data into Excel file. Okay. So now, so we will have to have Excel file, right? So now next topic is taking data from database and loading the data into Excel file here. Okay. So let's create one Excel file. Let's create an Excel file. Or else I want to load the data into portfolio details lo second sheet load చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాను. I want to load the data in second sheet. In second sheet load చేయాలనుకుంటున్నాను. Okay. So what is the information that I want to load? Take one table. Let's take one table, any table. And take only this table, product details. Okay. So now I'll show you how to load this data, taking data from database table and loading this data into Excel file. Okay. Let's create an Excel file having these headers. Okay. Having these headers. And let's create target file, name it as a target file. Okay. Paste it and delete the second row. Okay. So now we have a file called target file. We have four columns: portfolio and investment, quantity, and then a price. We have a four columns, right? There are four columns. Now we have to take the data from SQL Server DB and we will have to paste it over. We have to load the data into Excel, right? Close this. Now there is no data in target file and close this. So now we have to take the data from SQL, right? So go to Visual Studio and we'll create one more SSIS package. Right click and new SSIS package. So naming convention. Okay. Don't forget naming convention pkg underscore db2 excel. Enter. So first step, take data flow task, drop it into control flow. Next step, right click, click on edit option. Now, what is the source? So source is a WildDB source, right? So WildDB source, then destination is a Excel. So we have to load the data into Excel file now. So take Excel destination and now. So after that, we have to create a connection to the WildDB source, right? Right click, WildDB connection. We already created a WildDB connection. I'm going to use this connection, okay? And I'm going to use this connection WildDB source. And over here I want to read the data from product details table, all columns I want all the columns. Okay, data will flow through this blue arrow and now we have to load the data into Excel file, right? So take Excel connection, right click, click on a new connection and here we have a Excel connection. Take Excel connection and click OK. Now we have to browse a file to which you want to load. I want to load data into target file, right? Target file and click open and it has a first row as a column names, right? First row column names manipulation. Okay. Now open it and browse the Excel connection over here. Perfect. Now select a sheet in which you want to load. I want to load the data into sheet 1. Sheet 1 లో data వెళ్ళాలి. Already existing data ఏమన్నా చూద్దాం. There is no existing data into the sheet. Okay, close. So column names are same. That is why auto mapped. Column names automatically same ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి map అయిపోయింది. Okay, click OK. Now if you go and verify once target file, so there is no data in target file, right? Close this up. Close this. Now go and run the package. Now we took 9 rows from we read 9 rows from OLDB table, SQL Server table, and we copied the data into Excel. Now if you can go stop the execution. And if you go back to the file and if you open target file, you can see the 9 rows over here. See, we have a 9 rows, right? So any questions on copying data from DB to Excel file, DB to Excel file? Any questions?
అన్న మీరు ముందే ఎక్సెల్‌లో కాలమ్ నేమ్స్
Hmm.
క్రియేట్ చేశారు కదా! అలా చేయకుండా డైరెక్ట్ ఎంప్టీ ఎక్సెల్‌లోకి డీబీలో నుంచి లోడ్ చేయడం కుదురుతుందా?
సో ఎంటీ సో
అంటే
అడ్రస్ కూడా మనం తీసుకోకుండా ఉండాలంటే then we have to create excel file dynamically. So if you create excel file dynamically, then while creating excel file we can define column names already present in excel file లో కావాలంటే we need to take a headers తీసుకోవాలి, లేదంటే డేటాలోనే హెడర్స్ పార్ట్ అయిపో ఉండాలి. సో మనం ఇప్పుడు సీక్వెల్ నుంచి డేటా తీసుకొచ్చుకుంటున్నాం కదా, we are taking only data no from SQL server. You have to bring header names as well from the data. సో డేటాలోనే హెడర్స్ వచ్చేటట్టు తీసుకొచ్చుకోవాలి, అప్పుడు లోడ్ చేసుకోవాలి. దర్ ఆర్ వేరియస్ వేస్. We'll discuss in detail.
ఓకే.
So any other questions so far? So far we have seen copying data from one place to another place. We have seen db to excel, db to text file, and text file to db, text file to excel, right? So we have seen all these ways. Now db to excel is also completed. Any questions on these three topics? Okay, next, data conversion transformation. So far we have seen three source components: Excel source, flat file source, OLDB source, and three destination components. What are those destination components? OLDB destination, Excel destination, flat file destination. So we haven't discussed the transformation yet, right? So let's talk about data conversion transformation. Here we are reading data from OLDB source and we are dumping the data into Excel. If you remember my sentence, if you remember one point, right? So if the data is stored in Excel file, the column data types are different. Excel lo వచ్చి column data types different గా ఉంటాయి. Numerical అయితే double precision అని, ఆ string values ఉంటే Unicode string అని, but wherein OLDB source is a different thing. Okay. So I'll have to give you a few comparison, data types comparisons, very important. And okay, SQL Server. Okay, let's take Excel. Let's take Excel. SQL Server, SQL Server, and Excel. SQL Server లో n varchar ఉందనుకోండి, n varchar which is equivalent to Unicode string. Unicode string. So SQL Server లో float ఉందనుకోండి, which is equivalent to double precision. Double precision. Okay. So nvar in Excel, which is equivalent to double precision. But what in case of varchar, which is not equivalent to Unicode string? బట్ ఎక్సెల్లో ఒక కాలం ఉందనుకోండి, స్ట్రింగ్ కాలం. ఆ ఎక్సెల్ ఉన్న స్ట్రింగ్ కాలం ఉందనుకోండి, ఆ స్ట్రింగ్ కాలంలో మీరు లోడ్ చేయాలంటే ఇట్ షుడ్ బి ఎనీ కోడ్ స్ట్రింగ్, రైట్? బట్ ఇఫ్ ఇన్ సీక్వెల్ సర్వర్లో varchar ఉందనుకోండి, డైరెక్ట్గా మీరు ఏం చేయాలి? ఇప్పుడు సీక్వెల్లో ఒక టేబుల్ కాలం డైరెక్ట్ టైప్ వచ్చేసి varchar ఉంటే దాన్ని మీరు ఏం చేయాలి? యూనికోడ్ స్ట్రింగ్ గా కన్వర్ట్ చేసుకోవాలి. యూనికోడ్ స్ట్రింగ్ గా కన్వర్ట్ చేసుకొని దెన్ లోడ్ దట్ ఇట్ ఇంటూ యూనికోడ్ స్ట్రింగ్ కాలం. This is very important, Unicode string column. So in case a SQL, we are taking a column from a table. The data type of the column is a varchar, but varchar is not equivalent to Unicode string. So in SSIS, we have a data conversion transformation to convert the data type of the columns. We can convert from varchar to Unicode string, a convert chesi, then we can load that column into Excel. Okay, let's say I'll take a simple example. To make you understand. Okay, so let's take a Excel file. Let's take a portfolio details Excel, simple Excel file. Take simple file. So this particular file has portfolio column, investment column, and quantity and price. Okay, what is the data type for a portfolio column? What is the data type for a portfolio column? It is a Unicode string. Perfect. It's a Unicode string. Perfect. Double precision. Double precision. So Unicode string is SQL Server equivalent data type ఏంటి? And varchar. And varchar. Float. But now I am going to create a new table with my own data types, right? Create table tbl underscore portfolio details of having these columns. Price మాత్రం float అలాగే ఉంచేస్తాం. Price మాత్రం float. Small letters, small letters. Integer. Varchar of 100. Varchar of 100. Okay. I want to load the data from Excel file into this particular table. So, but ఈ table లో ఏంటనే చూడండి సార్. ఈ particular table లో, if you look at this particular table structure, no, here portfolio is varchar. Okay, here investment type is a varchar, quantity is a integer, price is a float. So real time లో already table create అయిపోతాయండి. So this is a very important case. Okay, now we are going to extract data from excel file. ఈ excel file లోన ఈ డేటాని తీసుకొచ్చి ఈ టేబుల్ లోకి వేయాలి. ఈ డేటా తీసుకొచ్చేసి ఈ టేబుల్ లోకి వేయాలి. but in excel file this is unicode string which is equivalent to n varchar, but table n varchar లేదుగా మరి. this is unicode string which is equivalent to n varchar లేదు. మనం ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలి, డేటా కన్వర్షన్ చేసుకురావాలి అంతేనా. so we can read this data in SSIS. We have an option to convert the data types which is equivalent to varchar, then we'll load the data. Okay, so let's see that process. It's a very important process. Okay, just go to Visual Studio and you create another SSIS package. Right click, new SSIS and data flow. నేమింగ్ కన్వెన్షన్ మర్చిపోయారు అంటారు కదా, టైం లేదు మర్చిపోయాం. ఓకేనా. సో నెక్స్ట్ వచ్చేసి కొంచెం ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేయండి, రైట్ క్లిక్ అండ్ ఎడిట్. ఓకే, సో వాట్ ఈస్ అవర్ సోర్స్, our source is excel file, right? Take excel source. నువ్వు ఎక్సెల్ ఫైల్ క్లిక్ చేసి ఎక్సెల్ సోర్స్ తీసేసుకోండి. ఓకే, ఎక్సెల్ కనెక్షన్ కూడా తీసుకోవాలిగా, రైట్ క్లిక్ and go to new connection and take a excel. Okay, click on add. So which file you want to read? Portfolio details, right? Portfolio details I want to read. Click open and click OK. So now we are reading this. So see, so select sheet 1 from which I want to load the data. So sheet 1 lo all columns తీసుకుంటున్నాం. Okay, now unicode string, float. Okay, unicode string double precision. Click OK. If you just place cursor places చెప్తుంది చూడండి. డేటా టైప్ ఏంటిది, కర్సర్ కాలం ఫ్రేమ్ ప్లేస్ చేసి యూనికోడ్ స్ట్రింగ్. ఎక్సెల్ కదా, యూనికోడ్ స్ట్రింగ్ డబుల్ ప్రెసిషన్. సో మనకి ఎక్సెల్ నుంచి రీడ్ చేసి 4 కాలమ్స్ డేటా టైప్ తెలిసిపోయి. బట్ సీక్వెల్ సర్వర్లో మనకి ఎన్వార్కర్ లేకపోతే దానికి మనం ఏం చేయాలి ఇప్పుడు, వీ హ్యావ్ టు టేక్ హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ transformations. We have a data conversion. If you take data conversion transformation helps you to convert the data type of a columns. So now right click, go edit. Now here if you want to convert the data type of this column, select this. What is the data type, existing data type of any code string you want to convert is a varchar kada. So you can convert. Where if I go for a look for a varchar, so look for a varchar meeku if you are unable to find varchar, just look for string and a varchar. String is a varchar, this is a varchar. So now portfolio is unicode string. I am converting into string which is equivalent. String is equivalent to varchar. Okay, string is equivalent to varchar. Unicode string is equivalent to n varchar. Unicode string is equivalent to n varchar. String is equivalent to varchar. So now I am converting into varchar. Now I want to convert this as well. So convert this as a string. Now this one, quantity is a double precision which is equivalent to float, but in our case it is integer kada. Here if it is integer, 4 bytes and integer i4 means integer 4 bytes, and price is anyway float. ikkada float undi akkada float undi kabatti problem లేదు. Okay, now these are input columns from excel. Portfolio is input column from excel source, investment is input column from excel source, output quantity is output column from excel source. So here after data conversion it is giving a new column, copy of portfolio after data conversion. after data conversion, click OK. And so from Excel source to data conversion, how many columns are flowing? 4 columns flow అవుతున్నాయి. బట్ డేటా కన్వర్షన్ లో మనం ఎన్ని కన్వర్షన్ చేసాం? 3 columns చేసాం కాబట్టి along with the 4 we will have a 3 more columns of copy of portfolio, copy of portfolio, copy of portfolio. ఓకే, సో ఒకసారి మనకి డైరెక్ట్ కాలమ్ తీసుకొని మీకు చూపిస్తాను. So in case if you want to see view the data which is flowing from this arrow, ఈ arrowలో ఫ్లో అవుతున్న డేటాని మీరు ఒకవేళ వ్యూ చేసుకోవాలంటే select this arrow, right click and enable data view. Click on enable data viewer. If you click on enable data viewer, it will show a data while flowing from Excel source to data conversion. Click on start. It will show you the data which is flowing from Excel to, so from Excel to portfolio, investment, quantity, price. So these 4 columns are flowing from Excel source to data conversion. No issues. Now I want to check out what is the data flowing from data conversion to derived column. Okay, now here you can right click and enable data viewer. So click on start. Now you can see what are the columns which are flowing from data conversion. See 7 columns. Portfolio, investment, quantity, price are flowing from Excel source, and data conversion is giving 3 more extra columns post data conversion. After data conversion, it is giving copy of portfolio. The column, what is the data type of this copy of portfolio? Is a string. Is it in a varchar integer? But this is Unicode string, double precision. Okay, close this out. Now remove it and take OLDB destination. We want to load data into OLDB destination, right? So take the data OLDB destination. Right click, edit. So create a connection. So now to which table you want to load? You want to load into TBL underscore portfolio details, right? Select this. Go to mappings. ఇక్కడ కాలమ్ నేమ్స్ సేమ్ గా ఉండడం వల్ల ఆటో మ్యాప్ అయిపోయి. Now is this a right mapping? సో కాలమ్ నేమ్స్ సేమ్ గా ఆటో మ్యాప్ అయిపోయి. If you just click OK, మీరు రన్ చేసి చూడండి, ఎర్రర్ చూడండి. Column portfolio cannot convert between Unicode string and non-Unicode string, which means Excel data type portfolio column వచ్చేసి Excel లో వచ్చి Unicode string, మీ table లో వచ్చి varchar which is string. సో కంపాటబిలిటీ లేదంటుంది, అందుకని మనం డేటా కన్వర్షన్ చేసేసాం. సో now here we have to select copy of portfolio which is equal to string, here copy of investment, here copy of quantity. Now if you just click OK, now you can see it is gone. So any questions on this conversion? Loading data from Excel to DB only, but we are converting data types in between. We have used the transformation. Any questions on this package? So that's all for today's session. We'll continue our discussion in next session.